Today, we are diving headfirst into one of the most powerful verses in the book of Revelation. We're talking about a prophecy, an ancient one, that describes a mysterious and absolute alliance that, well, it's had echoes throughout history.
These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. That's Revelation 17:13. Now, those words, they're incredibly specific, and honestly, a little bit chilling. So what do they really mean?
To figure that out, we've got to become linguistic detectives. We're going to peel back all those layers of translation and try to get to the original heart of this prophecy. So come on, let's investigate this together.
Our investigation, well, it has to start with the original Greek text. There's no other way. If we really want to understand this alliance, we have to understand the exact words that were used to describe it almost 2,000 years ago.
Okay, our very first clue is this phrase right here, mominian gnomen. Now, it gets translated as one mind, which sounds simple enough, but trust me, there is a much, much deeper meaning packed into these two little words. The key word here is gnome. See, this isn't just about thinking the same thought. Nope. It points to a unified purpose, a totally shared intention, a collective consent. So, right off the bat, we can see this is way more than simple agreement. We're talking about a complete fusion of will. But, a unified will is only part of the puzzle. The verse also tells us what this alliance does with that unity. It says they give their power. And the Greek word for that power is dynamin. This is our second major clue. Dynamis. It refers to inherent power, might, ability. Think of words like dynamic or even dynamite. It's the raw, actual strength and capacity that this group has. So the key takeaway here is they are willingly handing over their actual strength. But get this, they don't just give their power. The verse says they also give their strength, or to be more precise, their exousion. And this word works hand in hand with dynamis. This is where the prophecy gets laser-focused. If dynamis is the ability to act, the muscle, then exousia is the right to act. It's the delegated authority. Just think about that for a second. This alliance is giving away not just its power, but its legal and moral rights to rule. So who's on the receiving end of all of this? This unified purpose, this inherent power, this delegated authority, who gets it all? Well, the text is crystal clear. It all goes to to therio. Therion, the beast. All of it is willingly surrendered to a single beastly entity. So now that we've got all the clues laid out, we can finally start to assemble the full picture of what this rebellion looks like. So what does this one mind, this nome, actually look like when it's put into action? Well, when you combine this totally unified will with raw power and legal authority, you create one heck of a powerful motive for rebellion. And the source material draws a really direct line here. This counterfeit unity perfectly mirrors that single unified voice of the crowd demanding Jesus' crucifixion. It's a chillingly perfect agreement, all aimed at a destructive goal. So we can pretty much define this as a counterfeit unity, right? It has all the signs of a perfect agreement. Everybody's on the same page, working towards the same goal, but the goal itself is rebellion. And this brings us to a really crucial point about the commitment level of this alliance. This is not forced, it's not reluctant. This is a willing, deliberate, and active cooperation. They are all in, handing over their influence, their authority, and their resources without a second thought. Now, to really wrap our heads around the nature of this counterfeit unity, I think the best way is to see it contrasted with its polar opposite, a true redemptive unity. And look at this, the contrast could not be more stark. On one side, you've got the one mind from Revelation 17. That leads to the cry, "Crucify him." It gives power to the beast, and its ultimate result is destruction. But on the other side, you have the one mind of the early believers in the book of Acts. They're described as being of one heart and one soul. They give their lives to the Lamb, and the result is life. It's the same concept, unity, but with completely opposite outcomes. Okay, now let's zoom out from the words and the concepts and look at the actual historical stage where this prophecy was first playing out, the first century Roman world. The sources show us this alliance wasn't just some abstract idea. It was made of real-world groups. You had the religious rulers offering up their influence. You had the local puppet kings giving their authority. The mob lent its voice. And all of it Every last bit was consolidated and handed over to the Roman Empire, which, in this context, was acting as the beast. So why? Why did they do it? Well, it was for really practical political reasons. These local powers, they aligned with Rome just to protect their own status, their own positions, even if it meant directly opposing the kingdom of God. It was an alliance built on self-preservation that ended up fueling a massive spiritual rebellion. And this wasn't some far-off future event either. The Apostle Paul himself said that this same spirit, this mystery of iniquity, was already active in his time. The prophecy was describing a force that was present and growing right then and there. So, we've decoded the words, we've explored the motive, we've uncovered the historical context. What's the final verdict from our little investigation? Here is the crucial takeaway. This perfect storm of political power, religious influence, and popular opinion, it looked absolutely unbeatable. It was a perfectly unified front. And yet, the prophecy is clear. Its unity, as powerful as it was always temporary. It was ultimately just serving a purpose within a much, much larger divine plan. And that leaves us with a final, pretty provocative thought. Unity itself is neutral, right? It's just a powerful tool. The question this ancient prophecy really forces us to ask is, how is that tool being wielded? Is the unity we see around us, and maybe the unity we're a part of, is it building toward rebellion, or is it building toward redemption?